Hey Genderqueer Chat, it's Matt, and this week's topic was suggested by Callie, and it's representations of gender. So, how do you see genderqueer people represented in the media, in films, TVs, books, etc.? Do you think these representations are good or bad, or how can they be improved? So, I can't say that I've really seen a lot of specifically genderqueer identified people represented in the media or characters that are considered genderqueer people represented in film or TV. There are a lot of stories and a lot of characters that follow a more traditionally transgender sort of story, and that's been done with a varying degree of success and compassion. And the other time when you see gender tackled in the media, it's often revolves around sexuality, so effeminate gay men or butch masculine lesbian women. So that's where I see that it's mostly tackled if gender is faced in the media. So not a lot of specifically genderqueer stuff. There is one character, however, that I really enjoy, and that's the character of Frankie Fitzgerald from the UK television program Skins. And Frankie is introduced into the 5th season of Skins, which is basically a TV show that follows the lives of the stories of sort of college-age students. And it's a show which isn't afraid to test the boundaries. They deal with a lot of stuff like drug abuse and sex and sexuality, not afraid to tackle the hard-hitting stories. So the character of Frankie is introduced in the first episode of the 5th season. She's played by the actor Dakota Blue Richards, which is a fantastic name. And we're introduced to Frankie, and she's clearly a very androgynous, gender non-conforming person. She's a very independent, sure of herself kind of character, but it's very clear that she's intended to be gender non-conforming. The great thing about this character, and as she develops through the course of the series, it doesn't seem to follow a transgender kind of storyline, and it's not based on sexuality. So Skins is known very much for having very strongly developed and relatable gay characters. But in this series you have Frankie, and it's not clear whether or not her gender representation has anything to do, or presentation has anything to do with sexuality. It's tackled in the sense that somebody does ask her at some stage through the season whether she's into guys or girls, and she basically says neither, she's into people, which I think is a very poignant kind of quote, and I really enjoy that. I like that ambiguity about her character, and I think that's something that you don't often see portrayed in TV or in the media. So it's unclear how she identifies in regards to gender. It's unclear how she identifies in regards to sexuality, and to me that's a very genderqueer thing. It's never specifically stated that she's genderqueer or gender non-conforming. It's not ever spoken. I'm not sure whether the writers or producers of the show had that term in mind, but it's certainly how it comes across. And yeah, makes for a very interesting character. So interesting to see where they go for the next series and how that develops. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's definitely a good thing. I think, as I said, it's one of the first characters I've seen represented in this way, and I think it is a really good sort of genderqueer icon, I guess you could say. My concerns with it are that Frankie, while she seems very independent, sure of herself, and obviously has this strong identity to start with, even if it's not particularly outspoken, she does suffer from peer pressure as the series goes along. So her storyline is basically she's been bullied or harassed or ostracised at her previous school, and she's moved to this new school, and basically the same thing's happening again. She falls in or out with the crowd of sort of the more popular girls, and through the process of trying to gain some sort of acceptance through them, she does come into contact more with her femininity. So things like makeup and dressing more feminine is some of the challenges she faces. So I am kind of concerned that maybe that's being viewed as her gender identity is being viewed as a phase, or maybe something to do with her past and it's something that she's overcoming. Also in regards to her sexuality, she does date a guy through the first season, but there's clearly a lesbian subplot happening as well. So while it's not stating that Frankie is into guys or girls, she's just into people, as she says, I'm worried that her gender identity over time of the next series may be reduced to sexuality, which would be a shame as well. The other issue is she has two gay dads, which I think is a fantastic storyline and really cool. I'm worried though that having two gay dads somehow points that maybe that's that's what caused her gender identity. And I think it'd be very uncool if they tried to rationalise someone's gender identity and break it down and basically blame it on some sort of societal or factor. So that would be a shame. But yeah, Frankie's a great character. I think she's an awesome role model, a really good genderqueer icon, and probably the only example I can think of that. I really hope they develop that character and keep her really true to her roots of just keeping her ambiguous. You just don't see that very often. It's goes beyond male, female, gay, straight, bisexual, those easily definable boxes. So this character is really ambiguous, gender non-conforming. We'll say genderqueer, and yeah, she's great. So good to see how that one develops. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on the matter. I'll see you next week.